No.
Hi, my name is Lex. I'm here with Tito and his mother today with Ibogaine, Guatemala. I'm a patient of Ibogaine, and a successful patient from PTSD and some opiate withdrawal pain medication. And we have a program here in Guatemala where we use a medical procedure developed by Dr. Martinez Lopez, and who is here with us today, and one of the leading researchers in the field of pharmacology and Ibogaine in the world. And we're one of the few organizations that actually treats people in a hospital with EKGs, with testing, with a full-time nurse, and we'll get into a lot of those things later when I do another interview. I'm pretty much just a coach. Tito, actually I got a call when I was in Costa Rica, a strange number, and I think it was Tito's dad. I was starting not to answer the phone because I was out in the jungle, and I answered the phone, and his dad was speaking some Spanish, and I'm like, well, I know Dr. Lopez, and so he put Tito on the phone, and I talked to him for almost an hour, I guess, but he wouldn't talk. He wasn't talking to me, he wasn't saying much, and I kept saying, "You there? And I told him, my experiences and how much that Ibogaine had changed my life and had made me happy again. And so last week I came back to Guatemala and came back over to the hospital to work with Dr. Martinez, and Tito's here, and he's in the room, and we talked for a few minutes, but he still doesn't have a lot to say. I think that we started his process he went in on, this basically takes 3 days. We went in on Friday, or he went in on Friday. Very easy to get in this little hospital. It's a very small place and very quiet. It's not like your normal hospital, very comfortable. And we've got a nurse there that has done Ibogaine, Eugenia, he'll tell you is a wonderful person that never leaves your side. And Dr. Martinez stays with you while you're there through the process. And so let's talk to Tito. We're in day 4 now, I guess. When he came here, and I think he was getting a lot of pressure from his parents about doing this, but he really didn't believe that this was going to work, and was very skeptical. He's obviously a very intelligent guy. He's honors, and he's brilliant, and he's made a great choice here, and this is a wonderful day for all of us. And maybe he can just share a little bit of what he was involved with. He's from New Jersey. Obviously, heroin is everywhere now. They've had 64 deaths in heroin in January already. It's really becoming an epidemic in the States, and it's really a sad thing, and we're going to do our best to try to help as many people as we can. But Tito, why don't you just tell us a little bit about where you were in the States with what you were doing and where we are today?
So, I'm Tito. I'm 21 years old for the past 9 years or so. Since I was like 14 was when it all really started. I got into opiates. It was like the whole pill thing was really big, the Oxycontin and all that. And then that got expensive, for like a 14-year-old, 15-year-old, like afford it. So you get introduced to heroin. It's cheap. It's everywhere. And you just spiral down into that world. And these past 9 years, I've been trying to do NA meetings. I've been trying to do rehab, psychiatrist, therapist. But I push myself and try really hard to fight that voice in your head that's just constantly pulling you towards the drugs. And you can't really fix yourself with just following 12 steps, and that it's a great way to live, but you're not really living, because it's like a constant torture, constant every second you gotta say to yourself, no, I'm not gonna
the craving's still there.
Yeah, the craving's still in there. It's just like a constant fight every second. And before I came here, before my mom told me about the Ibogaine and Guatemala thing, at that point I already gave up on any hope that I could have a normal life and I could be happy again, because during the process, you have a little bit of hope. I could fight this. I could do. When I came here, I was done. I just came here to pretty much, just thinking to myself, I'll do this, I'll shut my mom up for a bit, get back to New Jersey, do the same thing all over again. Like this, I thought Dr. Lopez was some crazy guy just trying to push some weird stuff on me.
Magic bullet, right?
Yeah, trying to like get $3,000 out of my mom or something like that. I'm like, yeah, whatever, I'll just do it and come back here and keep doing my thing. And then, I'm here, and like you said, I was quiet. I didn't really say much because
You didn't
had no
expect
hope.
anything to happen.
I had no more hope. I thought, I'm a heroin addict. I'm gonna die doing heroin. That was gonna be my life, But during the whole process, the whole treatment process, and when I took the Ibogaine in the beginning, like I still, going into it, I didn't think it was gonna work at all. And even though I didn't want it, I just didn't want it to work. I just wanted to go home, keep doing what I was doing. When I came out of it the next day, and everything, like the whole experience started coming back together, like all the pieces of the trip, right? Like I started putting it all together, and I realized that night, I like closed my eyes, and I didn't have that craving, that thing in my head. Like it was just silent,
Peace.
It was just peace, quiet. I didn't. Like, I'm not thinking, like, who am I gonna call when I get back to Jersey? Where am I gonna go cop when I get back to Jersey? How am I gonna hide it from my parents? It wasn't going through my mind like it was every second.
Staying high, I know you don't want to interrupt you, but chasing dope is a full-time job.
It is.
How to get the money, how to get the pills, how
Every
to find
second.
it dominates your whole life to try to make sure you don't go into withdrawal or get dope sick, But continue, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so when I realized that, it's like this heavy, like, feeling, like, for the past 9 years, like, I had this guilty feeling all the time, because, like, addicts are always living in the past and blaming themselves and feeling guilty, but I felt this heavy weight in my heart, and it was, like, it wasn't bad, it was, like, so beautiful, and I started crying, and Eugene came into the room, and she's saying, what's wrong, and I'm just, like, I'm telling her everything, and, like, I didn't say a word to her, or to the doctor, or to anybody else. I was quiet, and I'm just opening up to her, and I'm crying, and I'm hugging her, and it's like this beautiful feeling in my chest, and I could feel all these emotions that I haven't felt for so many years, and it was just such a beautiful thing, when it hit me. Like, I'm not craving, I'm not fighting like a voice in my head telling me to go cop, and
it was, the demon is gone.
It was gone. It's possible. And, I just could not believe that, because these rehabs, NA, all these people always, like, tell you, like, your addiction is right outside the door doing push-ups. It's always going to be there. It's, like, right behind your shoulder. So, like, I was living in, like, a constant fear. Like, I have a bad day, and I'm in, like, a weak state, and that addiction's right behind me, and it's going to make me fall again. But, like, to realize it's possible for me to just, like, live my life in the present and, like, make conscious decisions, and not just, like, in my head, like, oh, you have a chance now, go cop, and, like, you have no control over it, Like, I could think in the present. Not even smoking cigarettes, because, like, I had this feeling of freedom that I have now. Like, my mind doesn't, like, pull me every 5 minutes to go outside to smoke. It doesn't, like, pull me to, like, find, collect all the change in the house, like, keep it all together until you can buy some drugs or something. Like, I don't have that pulling and pushing and, like, against my will, And it's like, I don't want to give that up for anything. So I'm just, like, I love that feeling of freedom. Before, right, these past couple of years, part of the, the addiction, the craving in my mind, it was, always, like, everything I did in my daily life was to eventually, at one point, use heroin again. So, like, I would bust my ass off in school, studying really hard to get good grades, so my parents would believe that, oh, he's doing good, he's, like, his life is together again. So I could just, like, get their confidence back and their trust back and just break it all over again, And, doing that, I guess I'm a pretty smart kid, like, I got straight A's, and I'm part of an honor society, like Phi Theta Kappa. And, I just started doing so much with the group, because even though I was, like, in that dark place, the current president, he's this great guy, he has, like, this charisma, like, I was dead inside, but, like, he, like, just being around him just, like, pulls you in, and, like, I became a committee leader, I became a vice president of communications, running Facebook, Twitter, and all this stuff, and like all while thinking, how am I gonna get high? How am I gonna get high? But like, it's a great group of people, and you know, I am smart. Like, I do try hard in school, even if it was just to like, you know, trick my parents to trusting me to, you know, so we could get high. But now, you know, I have this freedom, and like, you know, the president I'm talking about, he wanted to nominate me for regional president of there's like about 80 chapters in the Northeast region of Phi Theta Kappa. And he, you know, when I was still before Ibogaine, he was like telling me like, I want to nominate you because you're a great guy and like this and that, and I know you could do it. And I wanted to do it so badly because I love those guys, you know, like it's such a great group of people. But I knew I was going to be irresponsible. I couldn't do it because I'm thinking, because you have to go to like 4 different states during the semester, and I'm thinking I'm not going to be able to do. I can't bring my drugs with me.
Yeah, you're gonna stay
so
high.
I can't go to Pennsylvania and Vermont and all this stuff before you get out, and I like it. It just like tears me apart inside. And I also got nominated to go to a scholar laureate program in China or New Zealand. And it's like, how am I gonna go to China or New Zealand? You know, like, do they even have heroin there? Like, I don't know where to get it, and it's like all these life experiences that I was gonna miss out on. And now with this freedom that Ibogaine helped me get, it's just like, I could live life, you know. Actually, when it happened for me, like when I got out of the woke up out of it the next day, the last bit of what I experienced, it was kind of like a little bit dark, you know. So I had this feeling that it didn't work, you know, and like being a heroin addict, you know, with the withdrawals, with the leg shaking, and like I felt the tears coming out of my eyes, and I was like, I felt pretty down because I thought I still have heroin in my brain, I'm withdrawing or something. But you know, I think the next day after that is when I finally pieced everything together.
That's when Sunday, that green day.
Yeah.
That's when it all
Was it
started.
Sunday? I think it took me like it was Friday, Saturday. Yeah, Sunday.
Sunday's when it hit me, you know.
And like I pieced it all back together, and I like had that same experience, and it's definitely I had no faith in God. You know, like I said, I was done. I was, you know, if there was a God, I was cursing him every day because he was making me wake up, saving me from overdoses. I overdosed like 4 or 5 times. My mom's seen me like blue in the face, dying, you know, and somehow I just in the nick of time, or like somehow I just come back, and I had no faith in God because it was a terrible situation I was in. But in that experience, in my experience, like I feel like in this 1 second I spent an eternity with God, because like the thing about me, you know how I said I went to NA meetings, I talk to sponsors, I talk to therapists and psychiatrists. What I could never do is like the whole, you know, they tell you take it one day at a time, live, you know, for the right now, like look at your feet, touch things around you, like you're here in the present, you know, don't live in the past or look into the future. Like I try to do it, you know, I copy people, like everything I did, it was just copying stuff, you know. Like when I tell my mom I love her, it was like I practice it just so she could like, you know, give me a couple bucks to go out with my friends or something to get high, you know. And I just couldn't live in the present, I couldn't live in the now. And in that 1 second, I had that feeling of somebody like a baby, like not somebody, you know, like teaching a kid how to like, you know, walk and tie their shoes and like don't touch the stove or fire because that's hot, or you know,
reborn.
Yeah, basically teaching me step by step what it means to be alive, what it means to live in the now. And when the next day, you know, when I pieced it all together, and I remember like thinking to myself, I was talking for so many years with this like just powerful and just amazing, peaceful being, you know, I realized it was definitely God, because nobody in this world could make me understand in a lifetime how to live life in the now, in the present. And that day when I realized that, you know, that I told you, I was crying and I'm talking to Eugene and I'm like, you know, just in this amazing place again. I was, you know, I closed my eyes and I'm touching like the walls of by the bed, and I'm feeling the sheets, and like just the words come out of my mouth like, I'm here right now, touching these sheets, touching the walls. It's cold, it's soft, and I realized I understand what it means, like live day by day, live for the now, be in the present. Don't live in the past and like just feeling guilty about it. I understood it, and I'm like, the only person that could possibly have explained that to me and made me understand it for real had to be God.
What I can tell you that I appreciate very much. I never is gonna be enough to say thank you to save my son's life, and we are living very, very incredible moments right now with all what happened here. We have to come here to Guatemala to get my son his life back, and that is something I want let her people know, that there is hope, there is cure, and there is something, people don't know over there. So that is what we are gonna start working on and help people save. As a mother, is what I need to do. There is too much pain and sorrow, and is very bad that the suffer, the pain is very hard to describe, but I want to let people know that there is hope here. So that is what we are going to do now. Well, we are is so many emotion right now. We need to start learning how to live again, because all these years was very hard. Well, he started very young, but we didn't realize until he was, I guess, 16, 17 years old. He was very young, and we didn't know anything about. We didn't know how it was about. In 1,000 years, we don't know that the pain is gonna be waiting for us. It's terrible. So I can understand all the parents, they are suffering for their children. There is so many kids dying every day, and I guess that's not fair for them. If we something here to help them to save their life.
When I felt that like yank, where kind of God pulled me out of there, and then I had that experience with him, and then I kind of saw myself back in Jersey. There's a 7-Eleven close to where I live. Times when I'd run away from home, I'd just be out there with a couple other people, just begging for change.
That's a pickup spot.
Yeah, pick it up, or just begging for change or whatever. And I saw myself at that 7-Eleven, and all the people around there, and some of the other kids I knew that were using, and I just saw them in this terrible state. Just the lowest you can get when you're in that world. And I feel like it's God took me out and put me back there to take them too, you know what I mean? Bring them out of there too.
And thank you very much for coming by, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's glad to know that you can really talk, man.
Yeah.
Because guy was I'm like, wait a minute, this guy's not talking to me.